The anime begins with the capital city of Labyrinth, where danger is everywhere. Nick introduces himself as a master of war, a skilled group of adventurers. He also has a girlfriend, and his dream is to become the master of war in an A-rank party. Argas, a man like his father, kicked him out of the party, and his girlfriend also broke up with him. He is a fan of the idol girl Agatha. He used to waste a lot of money on music concerts for her. Nick is sitting in the rain and thinks that Argas kicked him out of the party. Argas says his mind is not set on becoming an adventurer, and now he has to take care of him. He has taken care of him since childhood, like his father, but now he doesn't. Then a girl comes to Nick in the rain and tells him she is an idol and she must cheer everyone up. She gives him a ticket and says to come to her concert. He thinks about it, goes to the concert, and becomes a big fan of Agate. He purchases many things in the name of Agate, and then he thinks of making a party of adventurers. He reaches an adventurer meeting base and tries to talk with a person to join his meeting, but remembers Argas saying that he is not fit for this. He sits in the restaurant, and some people also come to sit with him. He looks at 3 people who come and sit at his table. He thinks that the girl looks like she belongs to a rich family. The boy is like a priest, and the third girl is like a dragon. Then they all drink there and say they can't believe in humans, and they become stunned to see each other saying the same words. A girl named Tiana uses her magic, and 2 people come there and appreciate her. Her master says she is the pride of their academy. She says she does not learn magic to obtain success in life. She meets with Alex in the restaurant and tells him about her score. Alex says he doesn't feel well when she gets higher scores than him because he's her fiancé. He breaks his engagement and she leaves the town. She reached another place and became an adventurer. Then the priest tells Nick that he is the priest in his city, and a girl collects herbs for him and he gives coins to her. She tells Zem that she likes him and he says that he is not allowed to date anyone. Then the next morning, Maril comes with 2 security guards. They say that he gave her money for the wrong purpose. They imprisoned him in jail. He comes out of jail after a month, but no one believes him. He leaves the city and reaches another city, where he lives in a hotel. A woman suggests Zem should go to Labyrinth City to become an adventurer and make friends there. Then Nick asks the story of a draconian girl and becomes shocked to hear it. Nick sees a dream where he tells his girlfriend not to leave him, but she goes from there. Nick wakes up and sees 3 of them there. Tiana says it's her room and they have to leave. They are all going, but Nick says they have to form a party. Nick says they waste their money on girls and idols. Though they don't believe each other, they have to make their party. They all enter the party and go to the receptionist, who becomes afraid of them. Then the owner says not to be afraid of her, and she talks about their party. She says that Curran shows a miracle by coming back from C rank in Labyrinth. The guilds talk about her. She's a survivor. An important thing for adventurers is to come back alive, and Nick gives the team name as a survivor team. He says they will come back alive. They all like it, and later they will make strategies to handle their team. Nick says they have to save their money. Curran will save the money, and Zem will handle the key. One of them says Nick may steal the money, and Nick says he knows that they must suspect this. He says there was trust in his previous party, but now there's no trust in their party. They have to build trust, and the other says they also want to trust him. Nick tells them they have to defeat the boss of 2 labyrinths to rank up, and he also says to never forget to collect claims. Tiana says she thinks there's no play of her study that she reads in her school. Then a slime comes to her face, and she falls there. Nick says that this slime left a sticky thing on the floor, like when she put her foot on a banana peel. She attacks that slime with her magic, and the spell is going to Curran, but she uses her sword. She says she could not believe in her, and they work separately. They see a big slime, and Nick tells them he's the boss. Tiana attacks that slime and everything becomes slimy there. They come out of the place and Curran again says that Tiana is not trustworthy because she can do anything with them. Nick tells them that he doesn't use magic skills and can fight well with his hands and weapons. He says it's easy to trust anyone when they know about their weaknesses. Tiana apologizes to Curran and says that she's powerless in front of fire and earth magic. Tiana freezes and Curran burns fire for her. In the evening, they kill many goblins in the woods, and Nick tells them they have some intelligence and are a bit difficult to kill. Then Tiana says she can feel the presence of anything within 3 meters. She says she is feeling stronger than the goblins, and they ate the monsters. Nick says monsters are 5% stronger than goblins, and they are very weak. Zem says if they have to run, Nick says they have to kill because monsters are a danger to the people around them. Nick says to Curran that they need her fire magic to kill. They all reach their destination. Curran says she wants to believe Tiana, and she says they all want to believe in each other. Curran is in front, and the others are behind. Tiana attacks the goblin without hitting Curran. Nick also kills many goblins, and Curran hits the orge. Curran gets happy, and says Tiana doesn't hit her this time, and she says mercy time, she will hit her. Nick says maybe they don't like each other. They collect goblins' horns to get money. He could not break a goblin's horn, use his full force, and collide with Curran. Her batch falls there and cracks, which is connected to her memories. Curran is lying on the floor, sees her pendant, and says, "It was not a dream." She is walking in the form and says that the dragonkind must serve those humans who become heroes to save the world. Then she goes to a shop and likes the food there, but it's very costly, so she returns it. The salesman blames her, saying that she made a scratch on it and now he cannot sell it. He says he will tell knights about her if she doesn't purchase the pendant. Kalios comes there and says that Curran could not make a little scratch on it. She could make a big scratch. Kalios pays him and says to give him the right pendant. Otherwise, be well and tell the knights about his trap. The salesman return the payment and also give the pendant to them. Curran is very happy and starts serving Kalios because she thinks he is a hero. She is hiding her precious things in her baggage. But Kalios says to keep light things with her because they're going for a fight. He says no one has a cottage to steal her things and she does not need to worry. Curran defeats a big monster and his teammates appreciate her. Then they go to the snake pot and ask Curran to attack first in the pot. She attacks the snake that surrounds her, and she asks them for help, but they don't. They kill the monster because he becomes weak after he throws poison at Curran. She wants to know if they used her for their mission to kill the snake. After a few days, she comes back to her room, and everyone is surprised to see her. She comes to know that Kalios takes away her things, and she's going to say, "They're that pendant," but she can't. She asks about the Kalios people, and in the evening, she becomes hungry. She saw Fifth, the solo dinner there, who was very powerful and started chasing him. She says he can go alone in the labyrinth. Her friends also notice him but react as if unaware of her. She orders the same food as him daily. One day they were eating food when a drunken man collided with Fifth's sword. The sword is going to fall, but Curran stops it with her magic. She tries to talk with him, but he ignores her. Curran says this is the last time she meets with him, and she hears that he went away in a labyrinth and started an adventure. She doesn't have money to eat, so she joins a guild for a job where she meets with the other 3 members of her party. Nick is searching for a pendant and meets with Agata, who tells her about the broken pendant. Nick sees Curran, and they talk to each other. She tells him not to worry about the pendant, and they go back to guild. Everyone congratulates them for their F rank, and they are happily spending time with each other. Nick watches Curran, who is looking at her pendant, and Nick becomes sad. The receptionist comes there and says the owner is calling them. The owner gives them a whirl to do, and that is to find a labyrinth of boards, and the thing they have to search for is the secret blade, the Sword of Bonds. The guild master tells them to find the Sword of Bond, but Nick is very suspicious. He says if they cannot find it, she will give them 30,000 dinas. Nick says she will not say anything if she says it's not in good condition. They go on their way, and Curran kills a monster with her fire magic. Zem says they will find the sword that will increase the power of their team. Curran says this is right for them because they trust each other. Nick is still thinking about the pendant. They reach a place, and they think about the place. Nick says everything is made with artificial intelligence. Even the monsters are also made with intelligence. They see a camera on the wall and say that new adventurers are coming to the place. They enter inside and see a green lamp. Nick steps forward and says it has to be red, not green. They all stop him from going ahead, and the camera says they are going into trouble there. A gate opens, and they come inside a place and see a broken sword. They look at the sword and say that only those who value justice and friendship can accept it. The sword says that it's angel-class psychic magic, the Sword of Bonds, but they don't believe in the voice. And then, the sword asks them who will equip it. They all say they don't use it for themselves, they will sell it. The sword asks them not to do this because the guild people have been cheating with it and sealing it in that place. The sword says they will find the perfect user for it who will use it. They said to wait for it, but no one came there because the child didn't want it. Nick says they have to sell it because they need money. The sword says that if they keep it with them, they can gain a lot of power because its guardian system was updated to protect the sword. Nick tells all of them to run away to save themselves. Sword says to use it to protect themselves. Tiana freezes the guardian, but it is done or sent to Nick, who falls in a dig. Curran enters the hole to save Nick, Tiana, and Zem, the guardian. Curran tells Nick to come out, but he says they have to run and don't care about him. Nick says sorry for her pendant, but she says she also wants to break it but cannot do it. Her first master gave it to her, but she could not believe that he had cheated her. Then they both come out, use the legendary sword, and come to their fussy personalities. They defeat the charism and also damage its core because it's moving due to its core. They take the sword to guild, and she says it gets old. Then she sees a little child, and they say it's a new member named Bond. They come out and laugh because they make her fool by giving fake answers, and the child is the real sword. They all go from there. and Tiana takes Bond with him to a racing competition. She treats him like a child, and Bond says not to treat him like a child. She runs from there, saying a mop to him. Bond is roaming the streets of Labyrinth City, enjoying it very much, and saying it's all very beautiful. He sees the thing in Tiana's hands and says it's a high-quality igniter, and she remembers that he later gave this igniter to her. Then she says to Bind that he is looking good in armor. They like it very much, and Nick says how many specials he wants. He says speciation is a thing that one can happily receive. Nick gives responsibilities to everyone, and Tiana calculates the amount, which is 320 dina. Curran says it's the only income to eat the snacks, and Nick asks them to start to earn money. In the past, Tiana's master said she was not a student. He also gave her an igniter as a farewell gift. He also gave her some pieces of advice and told her jokes. He's laughing, and Tiana says she can't understand why he's smiling in this condition. She admits her master, and he gives her a last lesson to know about herself, who she is, and what she can do. She wakes up in the morning and wishes all things would be right as they were before. She says they all must have a wish they want to fulfill, but any ancient magic couldn't do it. Nick is having a nightmare, and he gives a gift to his girlfriend. His girlfriend likes the gift, but she wants to get something more. She yells at Nick, and he wakes up and says that it's telepathy. Bond enters his dream and wants to see everything. They reach their destination on a mission to kill a monster. Bond fights with the monster and kills him using his skills. They all appreciate him, and he says that he has observed all the skills of his last user, and Tiana says it is very wrong. Then they get hungry, and Nick goes with Curran to the restaurant. Bond is also with them. Nick sees his girlfriend Claudine there, who is sitting there with her new boyfriend. She makes him a fool by saying she wants money because her mother is sick. She says it takes 1 month to go to her. Nick goes near them and tells the boy about her. He reveals to the boy that Claudine is making a fool of him. She asks her new boyfriend to leave with her, but he refuses. She departs from there in anger. Nick is sitting with his team members, and they talk about the next quest. Claudine comes with Leon and says he's disturbing her. Nick insults both of them. Leon takes him outside but doesn't fight with him. He says that he wants to kick her out of the party because she has tricked a lot of people. He tells Nick to join Claudine with him and later says to also give him money that he is robbing from his party. They fight with each other, and a magician comes and attacks Nick. Curran catches that magician, but the guild master comes there and says to leave him. Guild master asked what they would do. Nick was choked and asked if she didn't come to stop them. The master says she will never stop them until they follow the rules. Leon challenges Nick for a mathematical bare knuckle there, and the others ask what this is. The guild master tells about the mathematical bare knuckle that has 10 rounds. If they defeat in a round, they will get a free punch from the opponent. The match will never stop until they solve the mathematical problem. She also says it's good that they learn math because the modern adventurers of today don't know about math. She says problems will get complicated in the next levels, and they are drawing a slip to come to know the names of the people who will give the tests for math. Curran's name comes out, and she is nervous, and her opponent is Claudine. Curran prepares herself for text and only gets 18 marks in the test. They spend a few weeks in training, and Zem goes to girls, but only to collect information. The girls tell him about Leon and also about Claudine. They can do anything to win the match. A girl also tells him about a strange person. Nick tells them their opponent will play a trick because he sends Zem to the girls and collects this information. They talk about the telepathy trick of the opponent. That's less than bonding. Claudine's parents are working at any station, but they steal things from there and kick her out of the job. They wanted to sell her, but she ran and kept making people fools to get money. She wakes up in the morning and says, "Just look, Nick, what she will do." The match started, and Curran knew the answers to all the questions. While Nick is fighting with Leon, he's just buying time. Leon also estimates that they know about their plan. At the end of the round, Curran gets fewer points than Claudine, and Leon gives a punch to Nick. In the second round, Curran again gets fewer marks and is upset that Nick is being hit due to her fault. But Nick appreciated her, saying that she was doing very well. Curran does her next round confidently, while Claudine engages her, but she doesn't pay attention to her. At the end of the round, Nick is hit by another punch, and Tiana says it's a waste of time. They have to answer all questions at once, so they can save time. The guildmaster says if they lose all rounds, then Nick has to face all the punches at the same time, who is already very injured. Zen says the next levels are difficult, and Curran couldn't attempt these questions. Curran attempts the questions with full focus, and Claudine says she knows that she cannot stamp them out. She's just making her fool. Claudine attempts to answer questions with the help of cheating. She says this is the last time of her fraud. After this, she left the party and lived her normal life. Tiana comes to know him and goes behind the magician who's helping her. Leon comes to know that these group members know about their plan. He asks Leon about the third member of their team, who says that he's busy. They catch the magician, and the guildmaster comes to know about the cheater. They are using a chip for this, and guards take them away. Claudine says she is not bad from the moment she tries to trust Pepple. Curran says no one is bad, but they have to realize their mistakes. At night, the survivors are having dinner, and Tiana says there's no benefit to her education in all this. They are talking, and a man is running over the wall outside of their room. Leon says he is a member of the Silver Tiger Party, and his boss, Bishot, is very inelegant and is the elder brother of Leon. They clear a labyrinth and get everything from there because of his brother. Then his brothers see this, and Leon decides he will never trust humanity. Leon becomes a captive and calls the source of destruction there, and a sword appears there. Tiana is sitting in the club with her opponents, and Nick says they come there because they get a lot of money from the Knuckle tournament. Bond sent Nick to learn about tasty ice cream. A waiter tells Bond that there's anti-magic in every game, so he should not cheat others. Tiana is winning the game very easily, and Agate's boyfriend becomes very angry at her. Leon comes there in the form of a monster. He's not in his control and says he can smell Nick there. After some time, a sword comes to Leon when he is captive and increases his power so he can kill Nick. He comes to Tiana and asks about Nick. She says what he thinks, and she will tell him. Leon says she has to choose one, her life or Nick. He says his senses are very strong, and she can't make him fool more. She takes out her igniter and uses it against Leon, who becomes very injured, and she runs with Agate. Leon stands up, his wounds get healed, and at the table before them, Agate falls there. She tells Agate's boyfriend to take her away, and he says he doesn't want her because of money. Then she says to Leon that they are the ones who have lost all their things. They don't put their lives in danger due to others. Leon says he can sense that she is right. Tiana says if he makes her hostage, Nick won't come for her there. Leon is going to attack her, but Nick comes there and holds Leon's sword. He says she can't die in his presence, and he comes to know that the monster is Leon. A fight starts between Leon and Nick. Tiana tells Nick to be careful because he's not like the first, and Leon tells him of the presence of another sword. The sword is talking about Bond's because both swords knew each other from the beginning. Leon's sword asks Bond's sword to leave, but Bond doesn't. Leon's sword gives all his power to Leon, and Nick is choked because he became so big before. The sword of Bond says that if he does this, his vulnerability won't survive. Mick has difficulty fighting, and Tiana says they should try Union, and they all agree, ready for it. Nick and Tiana ate glowing and used an ice attack on Leon, but nothing happened to him. Leon looks around and says he doesn't want to do this. He asks them to stop him. People are dying due to him. He just wants to become an adventurer, like his brother has not been a bad person from the earliest. Nick and Tiana come before him and use an anti-magic card on him, and his side becomes normal. The sword of revolution falls from his hands. Nick and Tiana sealed the sword and said magic cards proved useful. Guards came around Leon and sealed him in jail. Nick comes to meet him in jail. Leon says he feels strange to think that he was defeated by anyone except her, and Nick goes from there. Nick is jogging in the park, and he hears the voice of Agate, who says to work hard. She says she's halting to see him, and when she gives him the ticket to the concert, she has two ideas. First, she's worried that he will emit, and second, she's afraid he may become a criminal. But he holds himself up and has a goal in his life. But she's still sad, so she tells her past story. Her real name was Belle Haggins, and she used to sing her songs in her boyfriend's bar. The bar is going to close, and nobody hears her songs there. One day, an old man appreciates her song and asks if she wants to become an idol. His name is Joseph Coleman, a producer in jewelry production. Her boyfriend Donnie comes there and says to kick him out of the bar, but he says he wants to make her an idol. He gives her a ticket to the concert and she goes with her friends there. Some idols sing a song, and Belle becomes their fan. She goes with her friends to Joseph, and he agrees. She becomes an idol and gives money to Donnie, who wants to re-establish his bar. He wasted the money on gambling, and she also came into his talks. She starts earning a lot, but her relationship with Donnie Bethan gets worse day by day. At first, she saw Nick when his girlfriend broke up with him, and she chased him. He was sitting in the rain, and she gave him a ticket to the concert. Then Donnie took her to the casino, where she met with Tiana. Donnie says he will show her how he earns a lot from gambling, but Tiana defeats him badly. Later, when she sees Tiana in her fusion form, she defeats Leon, and she thinks of her as a goddess. Joseph pays all the money for Donnie and says he doesn't have any concern for the idol. Agathe says if she lives with him, he becomes very false. She says his dream is very innocent. She can leave her job as an idol, but at this time of life he does not see her. He only asks for money from her. He starts running after her money, and she knows that he's not a person like this. His life becomes disturbed if they live together. Joseph says it's here, looks, get on the road, or anywhere he will never call her, and Agate says sorry to him, and Donnie laughs and says, don't worry. He says that's their problem. They give up on gambling, and the other takes away their praise. Joseph tells him to keep quiet, and then he goes from there. She says the last time she saw Donnie, he was cleaning the road, but he idled her, and she also didn't call him. Then the next day, she met with Nick in the park and talked with him from behind the chair. She's sitting, and Nick, aka, is she upset? She says yes, she is a human. She has had problems in her life. When she solves a problem, another problem comes to her. Nick says to her that he can understand her situation. Then a puppy comes to her. She says if there are men or stray dogs, they all have to face problems. Una read about mysterious stepping men who kidnap the children in the night. Nick doesn't agree and says there's no stepping man, but Bond says it exists. A girl heard their talk from the window and asked what they said. She comes to them and says her name is Olivia. She's a writer and adventurer. Bond says he likes her magazine and starts jumping. When she collides with Curran, she feels something different, but doesn't say anything. At night, Zem comes back after the party and sees a girl, and someone takes her away in the street. Bond is walking with Nick. They are coming back from Agati's concert and talking about her concert. Kizuna says he can feel that Zem is in danger. They come to him and see that an invisible personality is attacking Zem. Nick says he's the stepping man who is attacking Zem and Kizuna Sasha in personality, and the man says he can see him. The stepping man runs from there, and Zem is protecting the little girl. They all reach the house and they ask the girl what she's doing at night. He also asks who the one who attacked her is. She says he's a stepping man. Her mother goes on the streets to fight with the stepping man, but she is defeated by the stepping man, and now she's in the hospital. She comes to know about a young man who is kidnapping the kids, but nobody believes her. Nick says they believe her mother because they see him with their eyes. She says her name is Reina, and she wants to become a student of Zem. Zem says she has to wait for 15 years to become his student. They tell her that they will inform her mother about her, and Kizuna says that the stepping man is a fraud. He's just a kidnapper, and he will catch him. The next day, the survivor reaches the guild and asks about the stripping man. The receptionist recognizes that they are survivors, and she gives them the task and says they will get 3k Dyna. The receptionist says they are survivors and can do it very easily, and the people around them are shocked to hear that. Tiana says she will bet on survivors for 50,000 Dyna. Ash says he will bet on Tiana's failure. They reach a slime, and the guard gives them some information. They fight with people and learn all about Hale. A person tells them he's very fast and asks them to beware of Nulgava. He asks them not to disturb Nulgava when he is working. They reach Hale's room and also talk with Nulgava, and they tell him that he committed many crimes. They also say that they came there to get the bounty. Nick asks him about the stepping man, but he claims he does not know anything. They take her to the guild, and the person gives 8 lakhs of Dyna to Tiana Nevada to defeat the bet. Tiana orders drinks for everyone, and they are very happy. In the past, when Zem was sealed in prison, he begged everyone to spare him. They were all sitting in the reporter's house, and Zem said the reporter was a very bad girl. She writes articles for herself as a stepmother. Red met Reina's mother with them, who became happy to meet with Nick. She says her memories have become fresher since meeting Nick. She tells Curran that she knows about her work with Fifths. Curran asks if she knows about Fifths. She says he is a member of the S rank. Then she thanked them for saving her daughter and said she was no longer involved in Stepping Man's case. Survivors say yes, she has to stay away from the danger, and then she says Zem is her master. Zem says he can't because she's a threat to him. He tells everyone his cause of being frightened because a little girl trapped him and he was sent to jail. Then she tells them to avoid this matter of Stepping Man, but Nick says she doesn't have a right to order them for anything. Nick says they could not ignore this serious thing, especially the kidnapping of little girls. Reina's mother says she left because she didn't want to put her daughter in any danger. Then they ask her to tell them how to fight. She says their master gives up on anyone very fast. Nick says, but he's not so good at magic. She gives them an igniter, and Curran cannot do it. Nick also tries, and he creates a little flame with it. Then Ada burns a big flame and says it's a start and he can do well. He starts his rope practice but falls, and Ada thinks that he's the most powerful of all of them. They see a young man who comes to catch a girl, but Bond attacks him. They all come there, and Nick says she's Olivia. The stepping man runs from there, and Bond says it must have a connection to some magic tool. Curran says they know about a magician named Leon, and he can help them. Nick goes to Leon and asks if he knows how to manipulate the look and presence of anyone. Leon says it must be an illusion. He says they have to say the correct name of that person. He says he has to speak right in the first attempt and has to know about his identity. Zem and Tiana say they came to know about the zone of Stepping Man. They reach the same garbage place in the city where they go to take hail. They take information from the guard, who gives them some information. Bond tells them they have been chased by someone. Suddenly, the Stepping Man comes to their front, and Nick says his practice is not completed yet if he's ready to fight with the Stepping Man. Nick uses her magic, and Olivia asks if he is a Stepping Man. Nick says he's not, but she is. Olivia says she's a reporter and adventurer. She says she could not go to the guild because of them, and then they all go to a girl, who sees a stone and says he knows who's doing all this. Fights with a Stepping Man who says that he's good at martial arts, and Nick says now he can also be known as a Stepping Man. Nick says they understand his pattern, but why does he repeat the same things if he wants to be caught by them? Nick says he knows everything about him, but the Stepping Man says he doesn't know the important thing. Nick says he also knows about it. Then Nolgava comes to his real face, and Nick says he came to know the Stepping Man zone is the same garbage place. The place is very dirty, but the dangerous infection doesn't leave this place. Nick is going to use his magic, but Nolgava says this place is not right for this, and then they come to a building where all his friends are also present. Bond covers this area from outside, and Zem asks why he spread the infection around. Nolgava says that his daughter died due to this infection. Zem says he investigated this and he came to know that she came to the blood contact of a patient. Society blames her. Nolgava says people have the only work to say things. Nolgava says they don't stop after her death. He is weeping and asks why his daughter died. He spread this disease so he could cure it, and he didn't care how many unknown people would be killed by it. Zem is talking with Nolgava, and Bond feels his presence. After some time, she tells everyone through telepathy. Then a person attacks Nolgava and comes inside from the site. He seems to stop speaking. Zem tries to heal Nolgava, but the person says he's nearing death. The person also attacked Karan and Tiana. Olivia comes out and fights with the man, but his white mask is healing. Then Nick and Zem use union, and the person says how they can do this ancient magic. He catches Olivia in a red balloon, where gravity is increasing with time. Nick throws his sword at him, and it hits his forehead. The man says he agrees with his defeat and will fund it from there. He left an explosion where the building was constructed. Zem runs to Nolgava and heals him, but he says he will die there. He says they have to run out because the building will fall at any time. He says that he tells her daughter about them because she likes the stories of adventurers. They come out of the building, and Zem starts weeping there. Nick makes him understand and says he does his best. Then Zem says he's happy that he did something for him on his last chance. Nick says this topic of the Stepping Men is close. But Olivia says the man with white masks still exists and he can do anything. The survivor group is taking a rest. Nick is lying on the bed, and he also has a broken sword. Nick thinks of the past when he was in a carriage with his parents, and his father tells him he's going to Labyrinth City. Suddenly, some bandits came there, and his mother hid him. Nick was running to save himself and collided with Argus, who saved him and killed the bandits. Then he went with Argus and told him that he was the adventurer, and Argus protected and guided him. Nick thinks he should behave well and give written answers to him. Then he will line up with him. In the morning, he sees it is raining and hears the voice of Agate. She is standing outside his home and waiting for the rain to stop. Nick gives her a puppy and says she should give it to him. She says it was also raining the first time they met. He also gives her an umbrella. She says he never heard his name from him. Zem replies yes. The person becomes happy because he wins his bet, and he goes from there. Zem checks on another patient and says he does all this for him. Tiana wakes up in the morning and says that every morning she thinks that she will have a painful day. She wonders why all this happens to humans. Humans think that tomorrow will be better, but there's no guarantee of it. She ate something and wondered if Curran liked it. Curran is with all group members and they talk with each other. After the Stepping Man case, there's a distance and silence between them. Zem is working and Bond comes there and asks Zem why he started his medical practice in such a dangerous place so he can become his bodyguard. The next day, they are all silent. Curran comes into the market for breakfast, and she thinks about her previous boss, who cheated on her. She says she never leaves him and there's not a day when she doesn't think about him. She hears a man say to the girl that she spoiled the chain. And Olivia comes, and she has news. They all have curiosity about it. They become happy and again ask to tell her. But Tiana has already read the article in the newspaper. Curran says she wants to not think about Kalios, but she doesn't do this. Tiana asks her to just think that she is not alone now, and they all say that they will fight with the legendary top demon and kill him. They say they will help Curran. Bond is talking with Olivia, who says they are swords and their lives are different from humans. Olivia says survivors are not had, but they have less ambition to kill the top demon, but they are very powerful and useful in the future. And the anime ends here with hope.